Hi everybody, Doug Miles along with Don Henderson as we come to you on a Saturday morning, October 15th. And Don, last time we did this about a week ago, we were talking about the wild card playoffs, and it's been kind of interesting this week with the ALDS and the NLDS.
It's been a very, very good week, and especially a week of upsets. The Padres, of course, coming in, taking the Mets out, who had won over 100 games during the regular season, and now they're doing a great job following up in the next series. And of course, the Braves, the Phillies and the Braves, the Phillies are a real surprise. Took the Cardinals out in 2, as we talked about last week, and now they're in the driver's seat in the second series and could possibly put the Braves, the world champions, right out of the second round.
Yeah, last year the Braves were kind of the surprise team, getting hot late in the year, rolling through the playoffs and winning it all. Nobody thought they would do it, and it looks like the Padres might be that team this year.
Well, the interesting thing about the Padres, I thought about it last night and watching the game, and a great game last night. They won it, beat the Dodgers 2-1, and they've had a lot of trouble. They were like 11-5 against the Dodgers. They haven't really played well against the Dodgers, but they did last night again. And the interesting thing is, last year it was the Braves before the trading deadline that made all the big moves for big players. This year, it was the Padres. It really didn't affect them during the regular season. They still couldn't catch the Dodgers, obviously, but at the same time, going into the playoffs, they're in the same position the Braves were last year. They got a lot of momentum going, and these young players that they traded for doing a pretty good job.
That's the thing now with the extended playoffs. The team can get hot and just kind of roll through these extra series. Sometimes helps the teams you don't expect, rather than the teams that, like the Mets, win 101. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Padres, and people are really disappointed in New York.
And you look at the Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers had an all-time winning kind of year this year for them, and yet they're down to the Padres 2-1 right now. So we'll see what happens tonight, tomorrow. If they put the Dodgers out, that would be a real surprise.
We were kind of talking at breakfast about, last week the Mets lose that series, and everybody in New York, the media, the talk shows, all are going wild. But a day later, they almost forget about it because the Yankees are playing Cleveland.
And not only that, but the Yankees have had great, Francona, we talked about it last week, I think one of the really super managers in baseball right now, and he's doing a good job with Cleveland. And his past history has been very good as well with the Red Sox and so forth. But Cleveland has not had a great deal of success against the Yankees during the regular season or the last few years, but they're in it right now. After the rain out, they're 1-1, so we'll see what happens today.
Yeah, they went in 10 yesterday.
Yesterday, yes.
After a close game.
Couple of bloops and pops out there. One off a shortstop, second baseman's glove. The second one just dropped in, and they won a 10-inning game, and so the series is tied 1-1. And of course, Judge is having a horrendous first couple of games. Struck out like
fans are booing him apparently
9 times, and they finally hit a line drive yesterday, the last time up, the 5th time up, but he hit it right at the third baseman. So I think he's over 10 all told in the playoffs so far against the Indians.
How quickly the fans forget 62 home runs, and now they're booing him in the playoffs. Really pretty rough. But he's going to get paid well, no matter what happens, right? Next year. Whether it be the Yankees, whether it be maybe the Mets, whoever.
Heyman wrote a big piece in the Post yesterday about who's going to be, making the offerings and how much the Yankees are going to go for. He sort of put an unlisted limit on the Yankees as to how high they'll go.
Yeah.
But who knows what some of the other clubs will do. We'll see.
He's 30 years old, and he has had injuries until this year. He was relatively injury-free this year. But, you don't want an Albert Pujols situation where you give some guy 10 years and then the contract is until the last couple of years where Pujols had a good ending.
As you point out,
it was kind of a disaster.
That's the thing. He's 30 years old. He's not 25 or 26. Right. And you give him a 10-year contract. Then you got a chance he's only 34, 35. But this case, he's 30, and 35. So you're going to give him a 5-year contract, and how much can you pay him for 5 years? Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Well, the Mets are stuck with Scherzer for 2 more years.
Oh yeah, you got 2 more years with him, $40 million a year.
And he fell apart in the playoffs.
Yeah, last year, 2 years ago with Washington, and this year with the Mets.
And the Dodgers last year fell apart in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And tired arm.
Yep.
So that's what they'll have to work with. But anyway, your Phillies, of course, Don was involved with the Phillies for many years, their broadcasts. Another team that After they got rid of Joe Girardi, it seems like that kind of lifted the spirits of the team, and they've done well.
You know, I really haven't heard much about a comparison, but I like to make comparisons. And Jeff Torborg, good friend of mine, and he's lived here in Sarasota for a number of years.
Sure.
One of the only ones that caught 3 no-hitters, a great catcher for the Dodgers.
Underrated, maybe the most underrated catcher.
One of the most, no
Defensive
question
catcher.
about it. Now he's over on the East Coast, but anyway, to make a long story short, he was relieved as the manager of Miami, the Marlins.
Right.
And what happens? Trader Joe comes in.
Yeah, Jack McKeon.
And not only turns the team around just like Thompson did with the Phillies, but he turns the team around, wins in the playoffs, wins the World Series.
Right.
And so I think this is a real comparison. Thompson taking over for Joe Girardi in Philadelphia, almost the exact same thing. And the Phillies playing outstanding baseball right now.
Yeah, they're looking to try and do what they did in 2008 against the Rays.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
The other team, of course, Seattle was a surprise getting into the playoffs. Of course, they're down 2-0 to the Astros right now.
The Astros, I still think, are the best team in baseball. They've won not two miraculous games, but one. The first game of the series, they were down 7-3,
Right.
and came on to win it in the bottom of the 9th inning. But I do think they're the best team.
And again, we mentioned it last week when we did this. They're looking to just kind of validate what they did 3 years ago, even though that was a cheating situation. They want to get a clean one this time.
Yes,
right?
that really, you're right. I mean, it's hanging over their heads.
Yeah.
And they would certainly like to win it straight up this time and not have any scandal. You got to give Dusty a lot of credit.
Dusty Baker,
Yes,
again, really kind of off the ash heap of, I mean, he had a good career as a manager, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But he was done.
Yeah.
And he got this third chance or fourth chance
And he
to
got-
take a team.
Because of the problems. And they felt he could come in and calm the waters and then take over. And he's done a terrific job again. He always has trouble when he gets to the finals going to the
Something
World
always seemed to
Series.
happen, remember, with the Cubs and
Something
the
always happens.
Giants? Yeah,
So
right.
we'll see whether he gets a good fortune this time and goes all the way.
Yeah, so baseball continues to be interesting there. One kind of sad note, which I saw last night on the crawl on the TV, one of the great relievers of all time, Bruce Sutter, passing away, of course, with the Cubs. Wins the Cy Young with the Cubs, and then wins the World Series with the Cardinals.
One of the great relievers of all time.
Yeah.
And had that knuckle curve and just a super relief pitcher. And I didn't realize he was that old, to be honest with you. I thought he was-
69, it said.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was ill or it didn't mention what he passed away from.
But I'll tell you, we've lost some great players in the last 6 months or so. And Bruce Sutter's a surprise. I just didn't think he was that old.
And you don't have the relievers like that today, like
No.
we had back in the 60s, really the 70s. I think is when it kind of took off. The like Sparky Lyle and Goose Gossage.
Go back again right now.
Raleigh Fingers, those guys.
Go back well, they pitched more than one inning. These guys only pitch for the most
Relievers
part.
would pitch three or four innings
Yeah,
sometimes.
now they only pitch at the most
3 batters, maybe.
3 or maybe 4. Maybe they'll take 1 out of the 8th inning and then
Yeah.
pitch 3, but that's it. But Bruce Sutter was really one of the great relief
Yeah,
pitchers.
one of the all-time ones. And then it goes football this week. Great college matchups. We talked about the schedule a little bit before. I'm going to head up as when we finish this to see USF to see if they can get on the winning track. Homecoming up in Tampa today against the Tulane Green Wave. So I know it's not a big game for people watching out there, but it's an alma mater for me, so I'm interested.
I think they're going to have trouble with it. Tulane normally does not have great football or basketball, but they're improving, and I think they. I hate to say it, but your alma mater, like mine, not alma mater in a sense, but I worked for Temple for so many years.
Temple had a rough go this
And
week too.
they gave up 70 points on Thursday night to University of Central Florida. And I tell you, Central Florida looked great. Temple looked terrible. But Penn State today, Penn State and Michigan is going to be a great game. And Tennessee has a great game this afternoon too. So a lot of great football this afternoon and this evening. I'm really looking forward to it.
Of course, your real alma mater, Texas, good win last
Turn
week.
things around. They've beat Oklahoma handily last week. Of course, Oklahoma's lost a couple of terrible games in the last few weeks, but at least they did turn it around. They're back on the winning track. We'll see where they go from here.
And of course, the Bucs down here, a good win last week.
Yes.
Tom Brady maybe getting the benefit of a very soft roughing the passer call at the end of that game. That kind of was a little bit of controversy this week. But
A lot of controversy,
yeah.
not only for
Troy
Brady.
Aikman get a little hot water for
Yeah.
saying they should put dresses on the quarterbacks, right?
A couple of
Can't
other
say that anymore, I guess.
couple of other quarterbacks also got the benefit of the doubt. So there was a big controversy about that. A lot of different suggestions about what they should do, and I think that you got to let the officials make those decisions. I don't think you can bring an outsider in and have him be in the booth and then make a decision from up there. I think you got to let the officials on the field. They run the game. Let them, adjust to what the situation is and make a call. That's all you can do.
Yeah, and I understand they want to protect the quarterbacks, but
Right.
that sack on Brady was just a normal tackle.
Oh yeah, it was just a rollover.
There's no way
It was
you
nothing.
could call that
No.
any semblance of roughing.
No, absolutely.
The guy
not.
rolled on his back, the
Yeah,
defense.
he never even touched the ground.
never touched the ground.
No.
So, but the Bucs get the benefit of that, and little news off of Brady as far as the personal life goes for that week, right? He gets a regular win and doesn't have to talk about the marriage situation.
Well, I haven't heard much about that this week. That's been.
I don't need to hear more about it. I don't want to hear about it.
That's been sort of calmed down, so we
Yeah,
haven't heard
yeah.
much about that.
So anyway, that's what's going on there. But that's a wrap up for this week, Don. Another good breakfast for us at our friends at IHOP.
We'll be back there next week.
Hopefully we'll be back. Thanks
Yes.
for watching, everybody.